it's Monday afternoon. I'm sitting here on the front porch. I'm hoarse. My throat's rough as hell. My allergies are kicking my ass. Ragweed's in bloom. Nettle's not too far behind. My allergies are kicking my ass. So if I start choking and coughing and hacking, you'll know why. No, it's not COVID, it's allergies. Now, probably sometime about an hour and a half ago, I was on the step ladder and I was picking me a mess of elderberries off my plant. There are some green ones in there. I'm not going to say there's not. But there's a lot more big old juicy black fat ones in there than are green ones. And a lot of the elderberry plants I normally pick from around town, the birds have stripped them down to nothing. They haven't touched my plant, which I'm thankful. Knock on some wood. And so I'm harvesting what I can right now. There's more on there that are going to be turning probably the next day or two. And I'll be watching, I'll be out here off and on, snipping and picking and snipping and picking. And then on top of it, here's my big old thing, a Concord grape in this container vat for my KitchenAid mixer. I think this is like a 4 or 6 quart container. I'm not for sure. I don't remember exactly. But later this evening, when this is downloading, and when I'm watching YouTube, Daniel Boone TV shows on YouTube, I'm going to be picking elderberries, I'm going to be picking grapes. And I'm going to freeze these and I'm going to freeze those. And I already got like 1.5 gallons of grapes in the freezer. I got a little bit started of elderberry, not very much. Maybe a cup started already. So I'll have at least another few cups in this little batch container here. And I'll keep adding to it as the week goes on. Now, my apple tree over here, there's a lot of green apples on it. Now they're like the old-fashioned green apple. They're small, they don't get very big, which I enjoy, because they're great for frying, they're great for cooking. I mean, you can eat them. They're kind of small, you won't get much off of it, but you can eat them. And but they're more of a cooking apple. Well, they're more of the old-fashioned green cooking apple. Gotta love congestion. Gotta love allergies. But I still got a lot of tomatoes that are producing. This is another thing that kills me. This time of year, people jerk out their tomatoes and, oh, they're done, season's over, and they'll jerk them out of the ground. I leave mine in all up until the killing frost takes them. And and then, like I said, I'll be getting tomatoes. Then they might take longer to turn red, but it's okay, because I'll be still getting tomatoes. And the wife enjoys it because she eats them in her salads. Some she just eats them with a little salt, or she just eats them plain. And of course I got some bell peppers, still putting out bell peppers, and I got my hot peppers over there, and I still got grapes on the grapevine in the front yard, and the grapes I have on the vine still on this side over here, I'm going to save a good majority of them to make grape juice, because I'm supposed to pick up my great-grandmother's recipe that was her mother's recipe for grape juice. And the only thing I know technically is the grape juice from the grapes, water, and sugar. That's the only 3 ingredients to make the grape juice that my great-grandmother and her mother made. So I'm kind of excited to give it a whirl. But other than that, that's what I get to look forward to. And then on top of it, like I said, my other elderberries over here, I got to pick some of them off as the week goes on when they get clusters like that. My Tabasco plant, I need to come over here and pick all the red ones off and some of the orange ones, so I can add it to my other vats of my peppers in the house that are fermenting. Well, actually not add them, but make a new vat of them to ferment with the peppers over here on the side, so I can have me more and more hot sauce. The thing of it is, there's all of a sudden all these new shortages. Now they're talking about a hot sauce shortage. So I'm like, that's fine. I'll just make a bunch of hot sauce for all the hot peppers I've grown and some of the ones I've gotten from other people. Like, these are some of the ones these are some of the big habaneros that basically I'm just gonna let these dry up, and you know, that way later on I can crunch them up and get the seed out of them and use them for seed for next year. And I'm going to do the same thing with some of the cherry tomatoes I have over here. I'm going to save a couple of them and use them for seed for next year. And just kind of recirculate and restock, and you know, everything that grows good I'm going to grow again next year. My concrete bed I showed in one of my videos beforehand, up here in the front part of my garden area, had in my side yard by the porch area. We're going to dig all the dirt out of that. We're going to use it in another bed, a piece I have over there, and then I'm going to use that block from the long bed and the block from the short bed, and I'm going to use all that block for a foundation piece for a certain structure form that I've been wanting to build for some time, and I'm just now getting off my ass to get started on it. Once we get it kind of quarter of the way put together and set up, I will go more into detail, so to say, and tell you what it is. But until that time comes, mum's the word. Loose lips sink ships. So yeah, I just, you know, gotta keep this suspense going. Getting kind of raspy. A little better. I've been out here for about an hour and a half making videos. I get off track or say something stupid and I delete and start over. So that's why my voice is kind of going out. So that's the reason for it. But yeah, I mean, there's still, I mean, I gotta mow the yard too, and I gotta clean up a lot of these weeds around here. I gotta drain the pool, trim out some of these little saplings of trees around the yard, and you know, pick up this and pick up that, and because well, I mean, I don't want my yard looking like George the Jungle. And then on top of it, and sometime in October, they're going to take their fall break. So I want to have a good little cookout and a little campfire thing, I guess you would call it, and have some people over, and we can sit around and shoot shit and, you know, have a good old time. Now I did my corn cob lines over here on the porch. I got like well, after this week I'll have 9 weeks on it for it to sit, and it should be ready in 10 weeks, like the recipe said. So, and sometime in October-ish, maybe November, I will have a big old vat of corncob wine, which technically it's more like corncob liquor. But since it's not being distilled, it's being fermented like how wine would be. So therefore, that's why they call it corncob wine. So I'll have a thing. I'll have at least 4 gallons of that. Hopefully, if everything turns out the way it should. And yeah, 4 gallons is a lot of stuff to have. So I will experiment and sip a little bit of it, and if it turns out the way I think it's gonna, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in some pint-sized mason jars, and I'll pass it out for Christmas gifts, and I'll give some away to certain people, and let them do whatever they want to do with it. So yeah, I'll have me 4 gallons of corncob wine. Now I did check it this afternoon, and it's already started doing the bubbly and big old thing of yeast cake floating on the top of it. So it's working its magic, so I can't complain too much. Hopefully everything turns out the way it should. But, you know, if it doesn't, you know, it's no big deal. I'm not really out nothing other than X amount of sugar and X amount of yeast. So, it is what it is. Now, there will be a few things after I get out. As soon as my allergies are not kicking my ass, I am going to take a road trip over by Cub Run. It's about an hour and a half-ish away from me. There's a store over there that has a lot of Amish things. And I love Amish stores. They got the best cooking stuff. They got the best appliance things like pots and skillets and everything else. So I saw a cauldron pot over there, and it's a great big one. I'm drooling. I'm like, ooh, I want it so bad. And I know my wife's gonna be like, why in the hell do you need that for? It's not really so much as a need, it's really a want. But the thing of it is, it's one of those wants that basically will turn into a need at one point in time. And I just love cast iron cookware. You know, I got cast iron in the house I haven't used but maybe once a year. But, you know, I still have it because it's cast iron, and it belonged to my great-grandmother. And I'm using her stuff that she had when she was younger than I am now. So tell me it doesn't last a lifetime. Because once it was my great-grandmother's, it was my grandmother's, and after my grandmother passed, I got all her cast iron that came from her mother. And some of it came from her grandmother, which would be my great-great-grandmother. So, you know, I'm still using that stuff still. And y'all can keep all these non-stick skillets and stuff, all this Teflon coating that's causing cancers and issues in your gut and, you know, all kinds of other diseases and everything else. Screw that, I want cast iron. You know, worst case scenario for me, I'll get, you know, too much iron in my system. Whoop-de-doo. You know, I'd rather have too much iron than have cancerous, because, you know, I'm using a Teflon skillet that's like, oh look, I can cook stuff in it and it doesn't stick. Whoop-de-doo. Not me. I'd rather cook the simple way. Well, I wouldn't really say the simple way. I'd rather cook the more primitive way that, you know, at least I know that my food's not going to have all these other chemicals in it. Teflon plastic chemicals anyway. Also, fingers crossed, knock on some wood again, hopefully this year me and Puckett will have a place to hunt. And if all goes well, we will have deer in the deep freezer. So, with that being said, you know, I really want deer steak. I don't care about deer burger. I want deer steaks. And maybe some fat back or back strap or something like that. But yeah, I don't like the hamburger, because a lot of the processors around here will take the liver and grind it up with the hamburger, and I can't stand liver, period. And I don't care if it's beef liver, pork liver, chicken liver, I can't stand liver. So now we find a good processor and we tell them don't put the liver in there, then I might take some hamburger. But yeah, I don't like the liver mixed with hamburger, especially in deer. But I gotta talk to my second cousin down there and find out exactly what's gonna go on, and even though the farm hasn't been divided. Everybody got their hand in the cookie jar still, but nothing's been divided up yet, so nobody knows whose section's what. So I'm going to ask him if me and a real good friend of mine can come down and set up and pick a spot out to go deer hunting. Now I'm going to have to probably borrow a high-powered rifle from Puckett, or I might use one of my brother-in-law's guns that's still here, take that down there with me and use that to deer hunt with. So I was hoping to go fishing this year for a certain type of fish so I can fillet them and put some fish in the freezer, but we just never got to it. Man, my allergies are kicking my ass right now. But it's getting kind of dark, and I'm starting to get kind of fuzzy on here, so I guess I'm going to just shut my ass up and call it for what it is, whatever video you call this. And as time goes on this week, and if there's something that really stands out or I just can't wait to share with you, I'll let y'all know, and I'll make a video or take some pictures. I need to find out how I can do the picture rotation for a video and just do a bunch of slideshow picture things besides me talking all the time. But anyway, y'all have a great night, and I might see you before Friday.